Okay, so guys, what's up? Welcome back. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Eugene best deck. Oh wow. So yeah, why is Eugene best deck? Well, that's exactly not true, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So yeah, and Eugene is not really a best deck, but like the thing is on Eugene is that Eugene are one of the fun deck out there basically, and especially on DBTO1 it's one of the more fun deck because it's challenging. You can win games. That doesn't mean that it's impossible. That's what makes it fun. Doesn't matter if like when you're having fun, but if you lost every time, then it's not fun. But like the deck could win sometimes. So if you're lucky enough, if you're good enough, and there are a lot of aspects where you need to win with Bruce. I mean like not Bruce, but Eugene. It's getting confusing. But like the thing is that like Eugene have like it needs a lot of stuff for it to be good. Basically, when you play it, it needs a lot of stuff. Like you need to you need to have the pieces. You need to have skills, I guess. You need to have luck also. So stuff like that, it's really important within playing Eugene. And yeah, some people that I know also play Eugene and it really good at playing Vanguard. That's why he sometimes win against even Catter, wins against Brandgate like Orpheus. So stuff like that. It's possible when you are good, of course, and like it's another plus thing, of course. Sprinkle a little bit of luck, and definitely you need pieces in your hand because like Eugene cannot do things in his own. It's like one of the worst. Like you definitely cannot play solo with Eugene. Even his first ability or second ability where he need to rush to rear guard. Well, yeah, if you don't have any rear guard, good luck. You cannot use the ability and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really a piece reliant, insanely card that really need the good pieces. Like you need to have a good board to even have like a good turn, and also that's why like the management that you need to be good, and like a little bit of luck definitely, and just like how you manage the resources and like how you manage your cards, like when to call. So it's worth it when you call. It's not a waste and stuff like that, and can give a really strong turn and stuff like that was very important within Eugene deck. And what makes Eugene deck a really fun deck anyway? It's complicated to play, and the thing is that like the payoff you can have a chance to win makes something like known as a worst deck a really fun deck, because like you challenge yourself, because it doesn't mean that it's impossible to win. There are possibilities that you can win within this deck, not just from overtrigger but from playing it normally itself. Stuff like that was just an essence why this deck is really fun. And you can say Eugene best deck, it's fine and absolutely crazy to see, because like more or less if you're saying this deck is good and you're winning games, who knows that you actually are a really good player because you can manage to make work within this deck. And what makes this deck a really fun deck and why people buy it anyway, because like some people did play Eugene and it's fun because like, well yeah, it's challenging, it's not impossible for you to win, and there are certain stuff that you can make it work, whatever it is. Manage your own resources, manage your own rear guard, not rear guard, your hand basically, because like you cannot call everything if you're special facing against prison or just some card that retire, like decks that could retire your own thing, because like just like I said before, Eugene needs the rear guard because like if you don't have any rear guard, you most likely cannot activate Eugene ability, not in full potential at least. So yeah, and you can also use the Overdress 5, which is weird because like some of his ability was very unorthodox, I guess, but like as I said before, in some way pluses you, and in other way like it's a card where you really need rely on the pieces, and the deck is kind of too random in a way, but like it is what it is. It's what Eugene do and what makes it a really fun deck. That complicated essence to it makes the deck really fun, and those sprinkles of possibility what makes this deck an insanely good deck in a way, and a good deck in another way, not a good deck in a really good deck. No, like it's a good deck in a way of using a worst deck basically, because like there are good things even in the worst deck. Some worst deck is just straight up impossible. A good example is V-Series. V-Series were like budget deck on V-Series. Some of them are straight up unplayable, and like stuff like that are just not great. And like For example, this kind of stuff like Eugene, that it's give a sprinkle of possibility what makes this deck a really fun deck. And some people even say like Eugene best deck. Why is it? Because Eugene can do this, blah 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 blah. It's really fun to say, sometimes really fun to read. So if some people type things up, and so yeah, and when people win, it's just they so proud they win with Eugene. It's a fun moment. Stuff like that I think is very important. And so yeah, I think like stuff like that, it's just incredibly like like it's just really nice, I guess, to see how those things is just very, it's just really are attached to a lot of people, I guess, playing. Oh yeah, I want to play worst deck because like, you know, I can win basically with this deck and stuff like that. It's very funny and very fun moment. And I think the good way, just like I said before, like I make a video about like talking about why worst deck is sometimes important within the game, because it gives some challenge to the people and a lot of people like those. And also another thing, it's not that expensive, and like it's the deck, those kind of deck is not expensive, and Eugene is not, and that's a good thing for this worst deck, because like this deck give fun to people and stuff like that. And what makes Eugene deck a really interesting deck? It's cheap, people want to try it and people want to win with it, and like just ready to make jokes everywhere and like just kicking ass of maybe Bastion player or Orpheus player, just like yeah, just like I can win with Eugene, like screw you Bastion and Orpheus and stuff like that are just very fun moment. And stuff like that is really important within the game, and that's why I think at some point or another you can see it that Eugene may as well, you can say a best deck Eugene. It works and it's a deserved thing, like yeah, especially in these years. I think it's a really nice moment where it's really rarely happen, even like in this beginning of era, like in the new era, like a lot of people already like hype Eugene at some point. Even people that I know also kind of like that, like very proudly, oh I win with Eugene, is just like the master of worst deck and stuff like that. It's a good moment and a good thing in the game, and what makes Eugene deck a really nice deck also. And I know that I'm not talking about the technical stuff on Eugene deck. I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, the possibility that you can just, you need to call rear guard, you need to call this, you need to call that, you need to counter blast, blah blah blah, you need to control your counter blast, stuff like that. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because you're like, Eugene deck needs all of those possibilities for you to win, especially your skill to play and stuff like that. Is just it's just how you play the game, and Eugene is rely on that. It's not relying on your, for example, Bastion. Well, like yeah, you call, you know what you call, you know the things that it is. Eugene deck is kind of like, but kind of like that, but like more or less Eugene deck, because the boss monster is not so consistent, it's not as great, it's not as good, then your skill is really are up to challenge is at that moment. And that is why, in my opinion, those kind of stuff is not exactly a really good thing to talk about, in my opinion, because like at the end of the day people will say, well, it's bad, and like, well yeah, it kind of is. And those kind of thing I don't think that I kind of want to talk about in today's video. Mostly I just want to talk about like the why is Eugene could be a best deck. I think you can see it as a best deck where it's a good challenge deck, it's fun, it's cheap, and it show your skill at max potential, whatever in lob team, in your control, on your counter blast, in your commitment when you're like, oh you know you need to win, you commit to it, and like stuff like that. I think is very important. So yeah, stuff like that I think is very interesting, and I think very much important within the game. And I think Eugene deck kind of makes it work in a way, and stuff like that was really nice, and something that you need to give props to the one that created Eugene, because like people enjoy it and it's a good thing and it's cheap. And so yeah, because like just like they say, worst deck was worse, no one going to play it, but when it's cheap, when it's affordable, some people want to try it out, and when they play it, it's very fun and you have a sprinkle possibility to win, then yeah, it is what it is. And in tournament definitely it's hardly possible, but like it's that possibility. I think some people will go YOLO it, but for now I think people still figuring out how this deck works, especially on DBTO2. We got support for Eugene. We'll see if Eugene gonna be a straight up a best deck in tournament or not. So I think that's about it I'm going to talk about today. I think it's good enough to tribute for all of those Eugene player. You are amazing. So I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you soon. Bye for now and have a good.
In the days and not a shame. Wishing we could just escape. Wishing we could just escape. Yeah. Yeah, we need a fucking break. And you know we'll miss these days. And you know we'll miss these days.